Excellent.
Hello? Hello? I don't think it's on. Hello? Yep. Is it on? Okay. Can you hear me?
Hers
Oh,
is not on.
no. Now you can. Okay, perfect. Hi, everybody. Thanks for coming tonight. My name is Deanna Fox. I'm the president of the Duanesburg Community Parent Teacher Association. DCPTA puts this event on every year. Last year was our first year back in person in a while, and it's nice to have everybody back again this year. So thank you to the candidates for being here tonight. Thank you for all of you for coming in. I think we're probably going to only keep questions open if you want to submit them for another minute or two. So if you haven't gotten them in, make sure you get them in now. And I'm going to turn it over to League of Women Voters, who are very grateful are here tonight to run this program, and Cheryl, our moderator. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Deanna. Well, good evening. I am Cheryl Neckerman from the League of Women Voters of Schenectady County. I've been asked to be the moderator for this evening's forum by the Duanesburg Community PTA. The League of Women Voters will also be screening the questions to be asked of the candidates. This evening, we will give you an opportunity to gather information about the candidates for Duanesburg Board of Education to help you make voting decisions. All of the candidates who will be on the ballot on May 16th have been invited to tonight's forum. These candidates are serving our community and participating in the democratic process by their willingness to run for office. We have a few ground rules. The Duanesburg Central School District will be live streaming the forum. No recording or pictures are allowed by members of the audience. And please silence your cell phones during the forum. You are welcome to submit written questions on the cards distributed. The same questions will be asked of each candidate. Please hold up your cards and an usher will collect them throughout the forum. Questions will be screened, and questions that are unclear, hostile, or of a personal nature will not be used. Questions that fall in the same general area may be consolidated. There is often not enough time to cover all the issues. Please feel free to contact the candidates directly for more information. Candidates will have a 2-minute opening statement, 1 minute to answer each question, and a 1-minute closing statement. We have a timer. Let's see. We have a timer who will hold up a yellow card when there are 30 seconds left and a red card when it is time for the candidates to stop. During the questioning time of the forum, the order of candidates will be varied. After each statement or question, please hold your applause until all the candidates have spoken. So our candidates tonight are Tony Amorosi, Brandon Bailey, Alyssa Craig, and Adam Securo. And now, let's begin with an opening statement by Ms. Amorosi.
Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I'm Tony Amorosi, and I'm running for re-election for the Board of Ed. I feel that I bring a completely different perspective to the board as a retired teacher, and I'd like to think of myself as Duanesburg's biggest cheerleader. I am and always have been an advocate for the children of this community and of this school. I want what's best for them. I want a school that will provide each student with the proper tools that will allow them to grow academically, socially, and personally into a productive contributor of their world. Let me tell you a story. When I first came here 46 years ago, I knew that I had to get kids to like me somehow. And I went to a cross-country meet. And as they were running, I noticed that there was one runner who was way behind. He was a handicapped kid here. And the entire team came to that finish line, and this kid finished last every single race, and they cheered him like he finished first. And when that happened, I knew this was the place that I wanted to be. I never looked back. I never changed my plans to go teach somewhere else. In this community, we cheer for each other. We support each other in good times and in bad, and we revel in each other's victories and console each other when we're defeated. I'm not finished yet. I want to be here. I want to be a part of every kid's life in this school, and I hope that I could get reelected. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Brandon Bailey. Whether I'm serving the village as a volunteer firefighter for Delancey, the state as a New York State court officer, or our country in the U.S. Air Force. I've always been dedicated to serving the public and look forward to serving you on the Duanesburg School Board. My wife and I are proud residents of Duanesburg, and we are blessed with 3 beautiful daughters, 2 of which are in the Duanesburg Middle School and 1 in the Duanesburg Daycare Center. I like to keep things simple, so I'm just going to give you a brief list of what I stand for and what I'm against. I would implore you to reach out to me by phone, in person, or on my Facebook page if you want to know more about me after tonight. These are my opinions and not at all aligned with any organization or person. I am for the best education for our children. This will always be number 1. I am for BOCES and the skills it can teach our kids, which is why BOCES was started. I am for a budget that is completely transparent and shows every dollar that is being spent, not just a pie chart. And I am for a sensible budget that fits our community. Our goal is to provide everything we possibly can to our children. I am for providing teachers with what they need to be able to appropriately instruct our children and give them the best education. I am against any age inappropriate book that is in any library my kids have access to. I am against using discriminatory practices to fight discrimination, aka DEI. This cultivates divide. I am for equality that focuses on each student's needs as an individual and as a human being to ensure that they are receiving the tools needed for the best education. I am for growing our school, and not just for enrollment, but in intellect and skill training. I am for parental rights, keeping you involved and decisive on your child's education at all times. I am for a safe environment for our children that protects them physically, mentally, and free from outside influences. I am for making our school leaders held responsible for our children's procurement of the highest possible proficiency in their education. As their role models, let's show our children how respect, honesty, and fairness can strengthen our community so that our youth can grow and thrive as individuals and together as a team. Let's keep education about academics and valuable skills so our children will succeed in life. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Craig?
Hello, friends, neighbors, members of the
I think
Duanesburg community.
I think
My
you need
name's
to talk
Alyssa
into the
Craig.
microphone a little more.
Am I not close enough? How's this? Okay, I'm gonna start again. Hello, friends, neighbors, and members of the Duanesburg community. My name is Alyssa Craig. I'm not sure 2 minutes is enough time to explain to you who I am, let alone why I'm running for the school board, but I'm gonna do my best. I have been a Duanesburg resident since 2017. I ran a small business here for 6 years. I have 2 children who attend Duanesburg Elementary. I'm involved in the community as a volunteer Girl Scout troop leader. I also volunteer with the Duanesburg Education Foundation, and I have supported the DCPTA in many capacities, pretty much since it started, and then I'm currently serving on the nominating committee. I have over a dozen years' experience as an operations manager in both healthcare and retail, and I've been honored for my achievements in these industries with many awards. Of those, I think I am most proud to have been recognized as Schenectady ARC's Employer of the Year as a champion for diversity and inclusion in the workplace. I'm excited to bring my skills and experiences to the Duanesburg Central Schools Board of Education with the following focus: respect for families, responsible budgeting, and supporting our community school. As a board member, I will bring integrity, commitment, and empathy to that role. Having integrity means that I'm responsible for what I say and how I behave. I will be fair, open, honest, respectful, and dependable in my duties. Commitment means that I will work to make sure that all students at DCS feel safe and welcomed at our community school. I will work to make sure we were able to recruit and maintain quality teachers and staff, and I will help steer the district toward financially responsible decisions so that the tax burden to our community is manageable and our school is safe and stable for years to come. And empathy means I will listen to your concerns with an open ear and an open heart. Fundamentally, I believe that everyone deserves to be treated with kindness and respect, and you could expect that from me both as a board member and beyond that as a human being. I'm running for school board because I care about every student, family, and employee who is touched by DCS. I think we have something special here. Together, we can heal what is broken and grow our community school. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Securo.
Good evening. My name is Adam Securo. My wife and I moved here and our children and numerous pets because we saw something in this close-knit community.
Oh. Just a little closer.
Do you want me to start over?
That's up to you.
Good evening. My name is Adam Securo. My wife and I moved here with our children and numerous pets because we saw something in this close-knit community that we wanted, something we couldn't find in the larger school district of Guilderland. In Duanesburg, we found friendly neighbors around every hill and valley. We experienced a small town atmosphere when we sent our children off to the Duanesburg schools. From then, we knew that this is where we wanted to raise our family. My interest in running for the school board stems from raising our 4 children in a safe, healthy environment, but it's much more than that. I feel each student in Duanesburg School should be given every opportunity to excel in their schools that they were gifted with. If elected to the Duanesburg School Board, I will put my work experience to help improve the district. I've spent the last 20 years in the HVAC industry reviewing policies, evaluating contracts, working with people. I have studied New York State guidelines and laws and kept current. I am able to communicate clearly, work effectively with all those around me. I will use my project management skills and take a good idea, whether it's from a fellow board member, a student, a parent, a teacher, community member, and turn it into reality. I would like to see increased communication between our school board and parents. I think parents should be more included in the decision that impacts their children. We have great teachers here in Duanesburg who are doing excellent work. I want to equip those teachers with more tools so they can use and teach and inspire our youth. If we pour more effort and energy into the learning aspects of our education system and less into the things that are distracting, we will see all students succeed. With your support, your vote, I will strive to strengthen and grow our district for years to come. Let's work together and bring positive changes to Duanesburg.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start our first question with Mr. Bailey. Should teachers or administrators' pay be based on student performance? Please explain your views.
No, I don't think they should be based off performance because I understand that teachers put in a lot of time, and they should be compensated for it. I think teachers are very important to the education of our children, and they deserve the pay and the time that they put in.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, should teachers or administrators' pay be based on student performance?
I think that that's sort of a tricky question if we don't know how to define what their performance is based on. I think generally my answer would also be no. If we're talking about testing, not all students are good test takers. Not all tests are great tests. And also, not all students are taking the same tests. We have the ability to opt our kids out of certain testing. And I think fundamentally that's probably unfair to teachers to tie any sort of performance-based pay to those things.
Thank you. Mr. Securo, should teachers or administrators' pay be based on student performance?
No, I do not believe it should be. There is many things that people don't understand when it's pay. That you just don't understand it. Our 2 kids have an IEP, and they work with a IEP almost every day. And they tell us all the great things that an IEP does. for our children. And I'm going to tell you that they work just as hard as the teachers do. And their salary is about half of what the teachers is. I'd like to see if that could be changed. And I believe that no, it's not. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Amorosi, should teachers or administrators' pay be based on student performance?
Absolutely not. Teachers, we cannot, there are so many outside figures that are outside factors that affect a kid's behavior and a kid's performance in school. It doesn't matter. We have no idea what's going on at home. So if you're going to sit there and base a pay on what happens when they come in and take a test, it's kind of a scary thing to even suggest it, because the school district then all of a sudden, oh, are we going to make this test a little bit easier, or is it going to be a standardized test? Is everybody in New York State taking it? Is it mandated? Is it not mandated? A lot of state tests that are going on right now, parents have a choice as to whether or not to opt a kid out. So if we're going to base it on performance, a lot of things have to change, and it's just not right for teachers' pay to be based on that.
Okay, thank you. All right, the next question is going to start with Ms. Craig. Can you explain your position on BOCES funding, a tax increase of 2.43%, and your feelings on the BOCES contract?
That's a lot of stuff to do in a minute. I want to pull up my notes a little bit with BOCES. The 2023-2024 amount for that is that contract is $90,238. It's not a small chunk of change. However, the reimbursement we're receiving for services for the 2022-2023 school year, which we're going to see in that school year, is $842,954. So even excusing all of the other wonderful things that we get from BOCES, like our federally required special ed services, our VOTEC program, technology services, and our food services program, that money that we get back in state aid, that's a huge chunk of change that we're getting from that BOCES contract. I am out of time. I'm sorry, I can't talk about the budget.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Securo, can you explain your position on BOCES funding, tax increase of 2.43%, and your feelings on the BOCES contract?
So the BOCES contract is with our school, and we get a lot of stuff with BOCES just because it comes in a package deal. Now, 2.4% is not that much. I don't think it is. But one of the things that I have looked at is I looked at the budgeting for what the school actually pays and all the services that BOCES does, and there's a lot of line items that we have combined services for. And some of those combined services should be reviewed and identified of what we need and what we don't need. Now, I don't want to take away the BOCES at all, but some of the things the school is paying for twice. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Amorosi, can you explain your position on BOCES funding, tax increase of 2.43%, and your feelings on the BOCES contract?
BOCES is an important part of the school district. It services many, many children in many different ways. The CTE program that are happening now, many students take advantage of that. It gives them skills. It helps them with internships. It educates kids who aren't always book learners. We need that. Special ed activities, the food service, everything, it comes through BOCES, and it is aidable. We get money back from it. So it's a very, very, very important program. As far as the 2.43% increase, I was in favor of trying to keep it below 1.99 or 1.98 at one point. But I understand that trying to keep the budget down for next year and in anticipation of the foundation aid being cut, I went along with the 2.43, and I really don't feel that that's going to be that much of a burden beyond the 1.98. I'm done.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Bailey, can you explain your position on BOCES funding, a tax increase of 2.43%, and your feelings on the BOCES contract?
So again, BOCES does provide a lot for the school, and the school needs that. And I don't think this funding should be cut for BOCES. As far as the 2.43% increase, like I said before, I'd like to know where every dollar goes. Call me frugal, but I just want to make sure it's spent well. That's maximizing our students' education. And as far as the BOCES contract, obviously, yes. I'd like to keep BOCES. I think it helps our students.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question, we'll start with Mr. Securo. What influence do you think a school board has on state mandated regulations, for example, COVID-19 vaccines and mask mandates?
The Board of Education has a lot to do with this. They can actually help with the superintendent and make decisions on what they should actually do for the school. There are many thoughts that I'm thinking about right now that traumatized my kids from wearing masks in the schools. And I'm going to tell you, I was not for the masks at all. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Amorosi, what influence do you think a school board has on state mandated regulations, for example, COVID-19 vaccines and mask mandates?
As a school board member now, when a state is mandating something, we can't not do it. Money comes in from state aid, and we have to go along with a mandate. But the thing is that many of the things aren't mandated. There's, as far as the COVID vaccine, that's not even on the floor anymore. That was thrown out. Many of our students here are already vaccinated. So I think it's a moot point right now.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, what influence do you think a school board has on state mandated regulations, for example, COVID-19 vaccines and mask mandates?
So thank God that COVID is over, hopefully, for good. We don't have to worry about that, and we can put it in our past. I think the school board should take recommendations from the state and assess from there. If it is by law that is mandated, it's out of the school's hands. But I think the school board should advocate for what's best for the children. And I know it's been controversial one way or the other, but that's where the medical field comes in, and they're the experts. So that's where I'll leave that.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, what influence do you think a school board has on state mandated regulations, for example, COVID-19 vaccines and mask mandates?
Most of my answer, I think, has already been said by one or another of the folks up here. I'm pretty sure the board does not have a lot of say in what is a state mandate. What the state says, we are sort of beholden to that. And I am also incredibly grateful that this is not something that we need to be talking about going forward. I believe today is the day that it is officially no longer considered a public health concern by the CDC. So I'm here to celebrate that. I personally would not be in support of a vaccine mandate, but I do know that the state ultimately is the one that has the say on that. And any concern, which rightfully you can have concerns about that, should be brought forth there, and the school board can't really do a whole lot about that.
Okay, thank you. All right, our next question, we'll start with Ms. Amorosi. Is it important to the development of our youth to provide programs beyond the basics, such as APs and expanding educational opportunities?
It's very important to expand the educational. um, it in a small district like ours, to have the AP courses or the UHS courses, it is allowing our students to come and have a jump on their freshman year in college if they're going to go to college. The advanced classes are very, very important to some kids, and when they graduate from here, it is almost possible for them to have an associate's degree with our dealings with with Schenectady Community College. So I wholeheartedly and would love to see more classes that we can get, and I think that these kids have opportunities that many schools do not offer.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, is it important to the development of our youth to provide programs beyond the basics, such as APs and expanding educational opportunities?
Yeah, absolutely. We should be advancing our child's education as far as we can, as much as we can. It's just going to make them go further in life, do better in life, and absolutely.
Okay. Ms. Craig, is it important to the development of our youth to provide programs beyond the basics, such as APs and expanding educational opportunities?
I would say absolutely yes. We owe our kids every opportunity that we can give them to go as far as they can in life, to enrich their lives with things that interest them and that they excel at, whatever that may be, so that when they leave us, they're entering the world and they're contributing their best selves to that world. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Mr. Securo, is it important to the development of our youth to provide programs beyond the basics, such as APs and expanding educational opportunities?
I do agree that advanced placement classes are ideal for our youth. We can give students an opportunity that they may not actually have a chance to get, or maybe they can't go to college. So if we give them that opportunity here in high school, they have more opportunity to succeed in life.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bailey, you're going to start with this question. Can you explain what parent choice means to you, and how will you address this if you're elected?
I think parent choice goes to parental rights. As parents, we have the responsibility for our child's education in total, K through 12 and even beyond. And that choice is very important to our children to succeed how the parents would like their child to succeed.
Ms. Craig, can you explain what parent choice means to you, and how will you address this if elected?
I think parent choice is something pretty simple that sometimes gets overcomplicated. I think parent choice is that we as parents have choices that we can make about our kids, what's best for them, what aligns with our morals and beliefs, and what we think is going to be healthy and safe for them. I think what that looks like for every kid and every family is going to be different. And I do not think that taking choice away from some parents to align with others is the right way to go. We need to figure out a way to make sure that we are able to make choices for our kids that benefit our kids, that don't then inadvertently hurt other children.
Mr. Seguro, can you explain what parent choice means to you, and how will you address this if elected?
Parent choice. Well, We have 4 children, and I can tell you right around dinner time, not one of them wants the same thing. We become short order cooks. Well, sometimes you need to give your child. Well, I'm just sorry. I'm thinking about a couple things around the house. And so sometimes you just have to make choices for your child. And most of the time, the parents know what's best for the child. But it doesn't hurt to ask or intervene as a board member to see how that child is at home.
Thank you. Ms. Amorosi, can you explain what parent choice means to you and how will you address it if elected?
Parent choice is important, but I think it's got to be more of a parent and teacher working together. The teachers are the experts. I don't tell my mechanic how to fix my car. And so we have to kind of find some happy medium where people are working together. I understand that every parent has a choice, but you have that choice in the school to learn and to whatever this is going to be taught. You have a choice to say if you don't want your kid to learn what's being taught, but you also have to let them be critical thinking and decide for themselves when things are out of their realm and talk to you about it. But right now, it's really, I think a teacher and the parents have to work together to make the education the best.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start our next question with Ms. Craig. How do you intend to keep programs going for special needs kids and support our LGBTQ+ students?
That's a really tough question. Without actually being on the board to be able to answer it, I would like to say that I believe that all students that go to Duanesburg deserve every opportunity to be successful, every opportunity to feel safe and welcomed. And I think as the adults and as the leaders in the school and in the community, it is our responsibility to make sure that that happens as best we can. Beyond that, I think I would really need to take a look at things that I'm not currently privy to as just a citizen and concerned parent here to be able to give you a really good, full answer on that.
Thank you. Mr. Securo, how do you intend to keep programs going for special needs kids and support our LGBTQ+ students?
Well, first of all, you'd have to involve yourself in part of the group and listen to their concerns, listen to what they would like, and identify what you can do to help. That's all I got.
Okay. Ms. Amorosi, how do you intend to keep programs going for special needs kids and support our LGBTQ+ students?
Our special needs kids have programs, and we need to continue those programs. We try to do the very best that we possibly can here. I think that our special ed programs are extremely strong, and I want that to be continued. And as far as I hate labeling anybody, and I hope that everybody can just coexist. I don't think that we have to. We just need to make sure that we can teach kindness. I guess that's what I really would like to say. Just teach kindness and be accepting of everybody's differences.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, how do you intend to keep programs going for special needs kids and support our LGBTQ+ students?
Obviously, it's very important for special needs to get the program they need to succeed. Um, And I agree, there shouldn't be any labels on anybody. Um, Each child is an individual, um, no matter what, and they're there to learn. So let's provide the education for them so everybody can get the skills and education they need to succeed.
Thank you. And we're going to start Mr. Securo for the next question. Do you believe there are books in our school libraries or available through BOCES digital library that should not be accessible to our students? Please identify any specific material and explain why you think it should be removed.
The answer is yes. Yes, I do believe there is some books from the BOCES book system that are in our schools, and I don't know why. I can give you an example, Lawn Boy. I don't know why it's in our school. I don't know who chose it. I just don't have any answers for it. But if you guys actually looked at the book, you would understand that it's not age appropriate for our children.
Okay. And Ms. Amorosi, do you believe there are books in our school libraries or available through BOCES digital library that should not be accessible to our students? Please identify any specific material and explain why you think it should be removed.
I'm not aware of all the titles that are available to kids in the libraries today. I'm not in favor of banning any book, and I believe that any child who wants to read a book will find that book somehow. And it's not that hard since they're all internet savvy, where I'm not. So, but I know that anybody can find whatever they want. If we start with one, we will start with many, and I'm not sure that that's where I would like to see any school district go. Again, I don't know that anybody knows every single book that's in these libraries, and anybody can pick anything out and find it harmful. But we all read To Kill a Mockingbird, and I bet you that nobody really remembers how horrible that was. So I'm sorry, but no, I don't believe in. I think that libraries should be open.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, do you believe there are books in our school libraries or available through BOCES digital library that should not be accessible to our students? Please identify any specific material and explain why you think it should be removed.
So yes, I didn't believe it at first. And then somebody had mentioned to me something they saw in the news, and I said, no way, it's not going to be in our library. So I looked it up myself in the digital library, and sure enough, there was one called, it was actually a series called Heartstopper. I read the first in the series. And to me, it is erotic literature. It's not something that I would ever show my children. I understand there may be a parent that would see benefit in having their child read that, so I'm not saying that they should be removed. I just think that the access should not be readily available to the student without either parental consent or reviewed first. With, it has to have, when I grew up, CDs for music, the explicit language, no parent wanted their child to hear that, so they put a label on it that said explicit language. So I think the same should be done.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, do you believe there are books in our school libraries or available through BOCES digital library that should not be accessible to our students? Please identify any specific material and explain why you think it should be removed.
I'm not comfortable saying that I would ask for any book to be removed from a library. And I'm not talking about, the elementary school library. I'm talking about the digital BOCES library, which I believe, I'm not familiar with the book that you mentioned, the book series, but I am familiar with Lawn Boy. and while I don't think it's appropriate for like my fourth grader to be reading, I do think that there is some value in the heavy topics that are addressed in that book for older students. And I am talking about high school age students. With any book, I think it's important that we are aware of what our kids are reading, that we're reading it with them. There's a whole world out there full of stuff that we probably don't want our kids to be experiencing and see, but we can't control all of that. I think the best thing to do is just be open and honest with them and try to help them through that.
Okay, thank you. The next question is going to start with Ms. Amorosi. What is your long-term plan for the school district? What should be the future priorities of the school board?
I would like to see us have a good working relationship with the superintendent and staff. I want to see the district grow into an institution where all students will be successful and have everything that they can learn with to achieve to be a better student, a better person. And I hope that we can prepare them for life with everything that we can possibly give them. That's what I hope to see in the future, is just a peaceful, happy school.
Mr. Bailey, what is your long-term plan for the school district? What should be the future priorities of the school board?
So long-term goal, I agree, we should try to grow our school. At 652 students, I think that's a little low, and it is nice, but it also hurts funding-wise. And also grow our school to make sure our kids are getting the best education and they're proficient in what they're learning. And as far as the school board, obviously, the goal or the important thing for a school board is to try to work with the superintendent and amongst themselves to do what needs to be, do what's best for the children as far as education. And if there's any disagreements or major issues, then it's not hurting or it's not helping our children. So I hope that we can all get along.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, what is your long-term plan for the school district? What should be the future priorities of the school board?
Well, ultimately, I want to make sure that our school district continues to exist. I want to make sure that we are providing the best education possible for the students that are here. As far as the school board goes, I think disagreement is okay. I just think we need to figure out a better way to do that respectfully and responsibly so that we can actually meet the needs of all of the kids here. I understand I didn't get to talk about the budget earlier. I know that is a huge issue for some people with the taxes going up, but we need to make sure that we're looking at our budget in the most financially responsible way so that we can continue to grow our district. Our property values raise, people want to come and move here, and we are graduating kids that are going off and pursuing their dreams. I really think a good school is a tremendous asset, and it's something that's worth investing in.
Thank you. Mr. Securo, what is your long-term plan for the school district? What should be the future priorities of the school board?
I believe we should listen to the community. We should have oversight on the district, grow the school, uphold standards, review policies, review with the community, review projects, review with the financial auditor, and identify what direction the community wants to go. The community actually has options to come to the BOE meetings and voice their opinions, concerns, and I think we should have more people come to the BOE meetings.
Okay, thank you. And we will we will start with Mr. Bailey on the next question. Do you believe the phrase "respect for families" used in this campaign includes respecting a family's and students' religious beliefs even when they differ from yours and the administration's?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Sure. Do you believe the phrase "respect for families" used in this campaign includes respecting a family's and students' religious beliefs even when they differ from yours and the administration's?
I'm all about respect, and like I said, I don't like labels. Um, Everybody's an individual, and we should be respectful of everybody's values.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, do you believe the phrase "respect for families" used in this campaign includes respecting a family's and students' religious beliefs even when they differ from yours and the administration's?
Yes, I think respect for families means respect for families, full stop.
We're just cruising right along. Thank you, Mr. Securo. Do you believe the phrase "respect for families" used in this campaign includes respecting a family's and students' religious beliefs even when they differ from yours and the administration's?
I do. I do. Everybody does their own thing outside of school, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't have a problem with it.
Thank you. Ms. Amorosi, do you believe the phrase "respect for families" used in this campaign includes respecting a family's and students' religious beliefs even when they differ from yours and the administration's?
Well, it should, yes. And I mean, religious beliefs should not even play a part in any, it shouldn't matter. Everybody should be welcome, and everyone should be respected for whatever they believe in.
Okay, thank you. And we'll start the next question with Ms. Craig. How do you plan to support our teachers and encourage quality educators to stay with the district and attract new teachers?
I think we need to be respectful of the teacher contract. I think we need to maybe do a little bit better job of expressing to them just how much they are the glue that holds our district together, the people that show up here every day. It is Teacher Appreciation Week, so thank you, teachers and support staff and everybody who comes here, and probably is very underpaid for all of the hard work and care that they provide. I just think we really need to support that. I think there's opportunities for us to volunteer. I think there's opportunities for us to say thank you more than just, during Teacher Appreciation Week. And I think making sure that we are adequately paying them and encouraging them to say actually saves money in the long run, because it's more cost effective to keep someone good than to continuously look for new people.
Thank you. Mr. Securo, how do you plan to support our teachers and encourage quality educators to stay with the district and attract new teachers?
Well, we're going to have to work with the existing teachers we have. We got to look at their values. And it comes down to checks and balances on bringing better teachers in if we need more teachers. But they're going to look at their teacher's contract, and they're going to ask to see what we can do. And honestly, I honestly think we're paying less than what the other school districts are paying right now. I really do.
Thank you. Ms. Amorosi, how do you plan to support our teachers and encourage quality educators to stay with the district and attract new teachers?
Duanesburg historically has been a stepping stone for many other districts. We have to somehow keep our teachers here. In this day and age, it's a teacher shortage out there, and to get people to come in and to stay and to work is a very difficult task. So we have to be economically competitive. And it's hard. It's not an easy job. And in this day and age, it's getting harder and harder day by day. Somehow we have to make them feel safe and appreciated.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, how do you plan to support our teachers and encourage quality educators to stay with the district and attract new teachers?
I agree that teachers, they deserve a lot. They deal with our kids all day long, and they teach them all day long, and even past when the children leave the building. And I understand that Duanesburg's a little bit less paying than other districts. If that's a possibility, I'm all for it. And also, I think whatever a teacher needs to instruct our children, if it's tools, resources, whatever to make it better for our teachers, I'm all for it.
Thank you. All right, we're going to start with Mr. Securo for the last question. In the 1990s, Duanesburg School District was ranked in the top 10 schools in the Capital District at least 3 times. During that time, the Duanesburg Central School had an outdated cinder track, no auditorium, 1 high school gym, and 1 tiny elementary school gym. Since then, the community has paid for an auditorium, a new all-weather track, extra gyms, etc. However, the school ranking has declined dramatically. What do you think has changed, and how would you fix it?
Community involvement. Now, I actually heard stories from some of the old timers that went to this school that they told me about the track that this place had. I can only imagine. But honestly, it all stems from involvement. The more involved that you are with the school, the better it becomes. And if there's no involvement, it just kind of goes, I want to say, kind of flat. So we got to have community involvement. And you got to listen to what people need. You got to make sure they're getting what they need. So it's community involvement.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Amorosi, in the 90s, Duanesburg School District was ranked in the top 10 schools in the Capital District at least 3 times. At that time, there was an outdated cinder track, no auditorium, 1 high school gym, and 1 tiny elementary school gym. Since then, the community has paid for an auditorium, a new all-weather track, extra gyms. However, the school ranking has declined dramatically. What do you think has changed, and how would you fix it?
Well, I coached on that track, so I liked it. It was the fastest cinder track in the area. That part does make me sad, but these are things that we strive for a very long time. I mean, this auditorium, I watched a number of plays in the gym. We watched graduation in the gym. And I mean, this is something that the community takes pride in. This school is the center of the community. And these are things that now people can say, I'm proud of it. Okay, so we need to work on how do we get our status up? How do we get back into the top 10? And that is going to take everybody working together. Parents working with teachers, teachers working with parents, everybody working together. We can't blame each other for other problems that are going on. Somebody's got to take hold and say, let's make this place the place it deserves to be.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey, in the 90s, Duanesburg School District was ranked in the top 10 schools at least 3 times. During that time, the Duanesburg Central School had an outdated cinder track, no auditorium, 1 high school gym, and 1 tiny elementary school gym. Since then, the community has paid for an auditorium, a new all-weather track, extra gyms. However, the school ranking has declined dramatically. What do you think has changed, and how would you fix it?
A lot has changed since the 1990s. There's a lot of dynamics that have changed at home, at school, curriculums. It's tough to say which one actually worked better in the 90s and what hasn't worked now. If I had to say, I would say parent involvement is very important. And if you don't have that, I could see where students don't exceed as well as they should if you have a parent and a teacher trying to provide an education for a child. And then, yeah, that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Craig, in the 90s, Dwaynesburg was ranked in the top 10 at least 3 times. During that time, Dwaynesburg had an outdated cinder track, no auditorium, 1 high school gym, and 1 tiny elementary school gym. Since then, the community has paid for an auditorium, a new all-weather track, extra gyms. However, the school ranking has declined dramatically. What do you think has changed, and how would you fix it?
There's a couple of things I'd like to mention with that. And one is I was a teenager in the 90s, and let me tell you, the world is a very different place in just about every way imaginable than it was when I was a kid. So I think that makes it tough. The other thing is with all of these things that we're talking about that the school district and the taxpayers have paid for, I see that there is a correlation here, but I don't know that there is a cause between spending that money and our rankings going down. Things that I do know that have happened between now and then is we had Common Core introduced, and we had a massive economic crisis, which I believe, and I was not living in Dwaynesburg at the time, but I believe there was a really contentious budget in which a lot of programs and things got cut. And I was looking at some numbers surrounding that, and I can't recall them off of the top of my head, but it did seem that the downslide did also go along with all of those cuts and things that we kind of had to lose at that time.
Okay. And now it's time for closing statements, and we are going to start with Ms. Amorosi, just like we started.
Well, okay, first of all, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters that came and ran this, and the PTA for their help. Thank you for all coming tonight, and thank you to all you guys that are standing up here under these hot lights that I can't see anything. I'm going to give you a little math lesson. I couldn't do this without giving you a math lesson. So I finally found my tax bill from last year. After moving, you tend to lose a few things here and there. I found my tax bill. I did the math, multiplied by the 2.43, and came out with a $69.17 increase, which comes out to be about $5.76 a week. I think that this is our future here, and I think that we can afford to invest in the kids in this district and invest in our community. I hope that I see you all next Tuesday, and thank you for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey.
Thank you for coming out tonight and listening to all of us and our similar and different opinions. It's actually nice to hear the similar ones, which as a school board is made up of seven members, and they're all individuals. And everybody's trying to represent the community based off of who they talk to and who they listen to, who they have a chat with. And then they discuss a matter and then they vote on it. And I think it's important that that's done civilly and heavily listening to the community, because that's why the school board is there. And I can promise you, I don't have all the answers. What I can promise you is that I will research as much as I can. I will listen to what you have to say. I'm not a rocket scientist, so I'm going to listen to anybody who has more experience than I have. And I will voice that opinion very strongly. And I'd like to thank all the candidates up here for taking the time to, no, I'm out of time. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Craig?
Thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thanks to the candidates up here on the stage. Thank you, teachers, support staff, everybody who supports our kids. Happy Mother's Day, moms. We earned this. We're facing a lot of issues. I don't think that's news to anybody. We are fairly deeply divided on a lot of things, but I think sitting up here tonight has kind of confirmed for me what I thought, and that is that we have a lot of common ground. Just before I came here, I saw the elementary schools PBIS post where they highlight once a month some really great attributes that our students are displaying at school. There's things like kindness and empathy and courage, cooperation. I think today's was perseverance. These posts always get hundreds of likes and dozens of shares and comments. And I think as a community, we really need to focus on those things because those are the values that we all share. These are the things we're proud of our kids doing. This is what's going to unite us and bring us together. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do need to work together. Thank you so much for listening tonight.
Okay, thank you. And Mr. Securo?
Thank you. Thank you all that participated. I wanted to thank my kids, my wife, friends. My vision for Duanesburg students is 100% in line with the DCS mission. And it says, well, I quote, "We will provide students of every ability to support, dedication, quality instruction, and experiences they need, and they will strive to fulfill their dreams and aspirations for the future. Provide an educational environment in partnership with families that nurtures and challenges each student in the pursuit of a lifelong learning." I have a plan. I will research, identify, equip teachers with the tools, and will enable them to improve the quality of education they provide our children. I will increase communication between the board, parents, and our community. I will improve transparency within the board. Parents have to know everything that's going on and involves and impacts their kids. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my vision with you.
Okay, well, I would like to thank all of the candidates for taking the time to run for office and to come to this forum tonight to talk to the voters. And thank you for the audience for coming to listen. Don't forget to vote on May 16th. The candidates will be available to talk with the voters as soon as you walk out of here. Please enjoy the refreshments. Thank you.